Everyone, today we are going to discuss about our chapter chemical reaction and equations. So content of this chapters are physical and chemical change, second chemical equation, balancing and its type, characteristics of chemical equation, chemical reaction and its type, oxidizing and reducing agent, oxidation in daily life. Then we will discuss about some questions of NCERT, MCQs and then hot question. So in today's lecture, we will discuss about these first 2 points, that is physical and the chemical change, chemical equation, balancing and its types. Okay, so first of all, we have physical and chemical change. The changes that takes place in substance may be categorized in two classes. The first one is physical change, that is in which there is no production of any new substance, only a change in the physical state or physical outlook changing is there. For example, crushing of a can, phase change during melting of ice. For example, if ice is melting, ice is a solid form of water, so it melts into liquid, that is what phase change. You can see this crushing of paper is what phase change, or you can say it is a physical change. Crushing of can, melting of an ice, boiling water, mixing of sand, breaking glass, dissolving sugar in water, shredding of paper, chopping of wood, all these are the physical changes. Now we will discuss about the chemical changes. In chemical changes, we have a new substance. In chemical changes, some substances react, or there may be a division of one substance to form two or more new substances, and in this the new substance which is produced is totally of different property than that of their reactant or the from which it is produced. Example: burning, rusting, photosynthesis. We will discuss about the further examples. Further examples are rusting of iron, burning wood, metabolism, the digestion of our food, cooking of egg. In cooking of egg, there is denaturization of protein, baking of cake, rotting of banana, electroplating, vinegar and baking soda mixture, fireworks, battery, chemical battery. These all are the examples of chemical changes. Now we will discuss about difference between physical and chemical change. The first difference is the definition itself, that is, no new substance is formed in the physical change, but in the case of chemical change, there is a new substance formation. Second point, physical change is temporary change, but a chemical change is a permanent change. So from this temporary word, we can also spell it like that, or we can also say it like that: physical change is reversible, that is, we can reverse the physical change. For example, if ice is there, we can melt it to form water, and water we can again form ice by cooling it. But chemical changes are irreversible. Once it is formed, we cannot reverse the change. In case of physical change, a very little amount of heat or light energy is usually absorbed or given out during a physical change. But in case of chemical change, there is a lot of amount of heat and light may be absorbed or given out. It depends. Sometimes it is very high amount of heat and light energy, sometimes only heat energy, sometimes only light energy. It depends upon the type of chemical reaction. Okay, now question time. So predict the chemical and the physical change from the picture. So first picture, breaking of glass. Correct, this is a physical change. Freezing of popsicle ice. Again, it is a physical change. Spoiling of milk. Milk becomes sour when it is not kept in the freezer. That is a chemical change. That is curding of milk. Slicing of bread. It is again a physical change. Roasting of marshmallow. Roasting means heating something in the presence of oxygen or in the presence of air. That is what? This is a chemical change. Breaking of egg. It is a physical change. Exploding fireworks, we have discussed it, it is a chemical change. So these all will be your homework, you can do as a homework. Okay, now second question, which change is temporary? Yes, physical change is temporary. Third question, Which change produce new substance? You are correct. That is, chemical change produce a new substance. Fourth question. Give examples of changes in which there is a both chemical and physical change. For your hint, I am giving you one example, that is burning of wax. So burning of wax is both, that is physical change, wax is melting, wax melts, and again wax is you can say react with oxygen and forms carbon dioxide and water. So I want two other further examples of such. Okay, now the fifth question, which is an MCQ question. Nowadays these MCQs are the part of your examination. So fifth question, when ice is heated it changes to water, and water is further heating gets converted to steam. What happens when steam is condensed? I'm again repeating the question. When ice is heated, it changes to water. Ice is changing to water, it is a physical change. That is, it is melting. And further, water on further heating gets converted into steam. So water is converting into steam, that is again a physical change. So what happens when the steam is condensed? Steam is condensing back into the liquid, that is into water. So it means it is also a physical change. Now looking towards the option, as this is a physical change, so there will be no new substance formation. So option A is incorrect, that is wrong. Option B, no new substance is formed, that is correct. Gaseous phase changes to liquid phase, this is also correct. So both B and C are correct option. So we can say that option D is correct, as it contains both B and C are correct. So for this MCQ, the answer is option D. Is it clear? Okay. Moving further, we have chemical substance. A chemical substance is a form of matter that has constant chemical composition and characteristic property. For example, if we say water, water means H2O. The formula or the constituents of water remain constant. Copper sulfate, that is CuSO4, that is copper sulfate will always contain copper, sulfur and oxygen, and characteristic property, that is it is blue in color. So each and every chemical substance has a constant composition and characteristic property. So what we call it as a chemical substance. Then chemical equation. So the way of representing any chemical reaction with the help of symbols and some arrows on a piece of paper is known as chemical equation. So for an exam purpose, the definition what you need to write in your exam will be: a chemical equation is the symbolic representation of a chemical reaction where the reactant entities, reactant means which are going to react, are given on left hand side, that is left hand side, and the product is given on the right hand side. So the form of chemical equation, here we have H2 plus O2 gives you twice H2O. In this 2 and this 2, these are known as stoichiometric coefficients, and these refers towards the number of moles of particular substance. For example, here we have 2 moles of H2, hydrogen gas, are reacting with 1 mole of oxygen to produce 2 moles of water. So these two are what? Stoichiometric coefficient. On the left hand side we have reactants, on the right hand side we have product. A chemical reaction describes what happens in a chemical reaction. A chemical equation is nothing but the representation of your chemical reaction. Just for a knowledge, the first chemical equation was diagrammed by Jean Belgian in 1615. Now, types of chemical equation. The first equation is word equation. As from the name it is clear, in this equation we do not use any symbols. We use only words to describe a chemical reaction. For example, hydrogen and oxygen reacts to form water. Carbon and oxygen reacts to form carbon dioxide. Sodium plus chlorine gives you sodium chloride. So there is only use of words to describe a particular chemical reaction. We are not using any symbols. So these type of reaction are known as word equation. The problem with these equations is that you can say it covers a lot of paper and it requires a lot of time to write each and everything. For example, hydrogen reacts with oxygen. So this requires a lot of time. And this arrow is a separation between the reactant and the product. Okay, now skeletal equation. Skeleton is a equation is a little bit of improved version of the previous one, that is a word equation. In this, we use formulas and chemical symbols to indicate the chemicals, that is reactant and the product. For example, the skeletal equation for the electrolysis of water is H2O, that is water. Whenever it is electrolysis, that it breaks down with the help of electricity, it converts into H2 and O2. Now, in this equation, this is not a balanced one, where balanced means that is the reactant quantity or the elements on the reactant side should be equal to the product side. So this is not in this equation. So this is known as what? Skeletal equation. So the difference between the skeletal and the word equation is that word equation there is no symbol, but in case of skeletal equation we use symbols to represent a chemical reaction. The similarity between skeletal and word equation is both the reactions or both the way of representing an equation is not balanced. Okay. Now we have balanced chemical equation. A balanced chemical equation is that in which the number of atoms involved in the reactant side is equal to the number of atoms on the product side. It is based on the law of conservation of mass, that is, mass can never be created nor be destroyed and it will remain conserved. So a balanced chemical equation for electrolysis of water is twice H2O, that is 2 molecules of H2O combines with 2 molecules of H2 plus O2. Now, how to read a balanced chemical equation? Students, this is a very important thing, that how we can read a balanced chemical equation. And for better understanding, I always recommend that please prepare your notes. You can pause the video, prepare your notes, write down each and everything on your copy, then it will be beneficial for you. So, for example, this equation, CH4, we all know that CH4 is methane, O2 is oxygen. So we can say that this is the combustion of methane which is going to produce CO2 and water, that is carbon dioxide and water. So we can read this equation. This equation would be read as CH4 plus 2H2O yields, this arrow means yield, carbon monoxide, that is CO2 and carbon dioxide and H2O. Using the IUPAC nomenclature, this equation would be read as methane plus oxygen yields carbon dioxide and water. The stoichiometric coefficient, that is this 2 and this 2 are what? Stoichiometric coefficient. Numbers in the front of the chemical formula result from the law of conservation of mass, that is, this equation is the balanced one. Now, what is the need to balance a chemical equation? A chemical equation is balanced in order to satisfy law of conservation of mass. I have already told you, it states that matter can neither be created nor be destroyed. Now, what is the main purpose of balancing an equation? This is not just to satisfy the law of conservation of mass. The main purpose is, from this particular balancing the equation, we got a quantitative information about the reactants and the product. By the quantitative information means we can get the amount of what amount of reactant is suitable to react so that it will produce that particular amount of product. For example, you have a ammonia factory and you got an order to produce 30 kgs of ammonia. So you should know what amount of nitrogen and hydrogen are going to react with each other so that you can produce 30 kg of ammonia. So this gives you about the quantitative information. Now the most last topic for the day is how to balance a chemical equation. For example, we have HCl plus NaOH gives you NaCl plus H2O. In this equation, hydrogen 1 and 2 hydrogen 2, chlorine 1, 1, sodium 1 and oxygen 1. So hydrogen is 2, chlorine 1, sodium 1, oxygen 1. So they are on the left hand side, that is on the reactant side. On the right hand side, each and everything is same. So this is a balanced chemical equation, automatically balanced chemical equation. We do not need to write any of the stoichiometric coefficient. Now this one, H2 plus O2 gives you H2O. This is not the balanced one. Here we have 2H, 2 oxygen and 2H2 and only 1 oxygen. So we can just, in order to balance this equation, we can just write 2 on H2O. So now it will have 4H and twice O. 4H and twice O. You can clearly see H2O2, H4 and O2. So now in this case hydrogens are less than that of the product. So what we do? We just add 2 there. So now this hydrogen is 4. This is 2. This is again 4. So this is what? A balanced chemical equation. We can take for another example. Copper plus AgNO3 gives you copper nitrate plus silver. So we have only 1 copper, 1 silver, nitrate, nitrogen 1, oxygen 3. Then we have copper 1, nitrogen 1 or Ag1, nitrogen 2. This is 2 nitrogen and 6 oxygen. So just balancing the equation, what we will get? We will get copper plus twice AgNO3 gives you copper nitrate plus twice Ag. So this 2 and these 2 are what? Stoichiometric coefficient which we add in order to balance a chemical equation. Now try to solve these questions as a part of your classwork. First of all, try to solve second, third, fourth and then move towards the first one. First one is little bit difficult. If you are able to do 2, 3 and 4 less than 5 minutes, then it will be easy for you to do the first one. I will give the answer of each and every at a time. You can just pause your video and check out the answer. Okay, now this is 8, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So this is what? The balanced chemical equation. So for today's class, this is the chapter. First 2 topics. In the next class, we will discuss about the different type of chemical. We will discuss about the definition of chemical reaction and different type of chemical reaction and discuss some questions. So for your homework, remember to do from 5th to 11th. Okay, take care. Bye. Hello everyone. Welcome to our second part of the chapter Chemical Reaction and Equation for class 10th chemistry. Okay, so in the previous part we discussed about physical and chemical changes, equation, chemical equation, balancing and types. Now in this part we will discuss about information in chemical equation, characteristics of chemical equation, questions from NCERT, CBSE previous year examinations, some MCQs and some hot questions. Okay, now information in chemical equation. So in the previous chapter or in the previous part we discussed about the chemical equation. So I'm just again giving you a little bit of revision of the previous part, that is a chemical equation. So chemical equation is a way of representing a chemical reaction with the help of some symbols of different chemical substances on a piece of paper. That is simply a representation of chemical reaction on a piece of paper using some symbols is known as chemical equation. So the information which a chemical equation gives us is the reaction symbol. That is, a gas is there, it means upward arrow, it means a gas, downward arrow, it means precipitate. This type of symbol is there, it means equilibrium. So precipitate and equilibrium we will discuss in the further chapter. Chemical substance and their state. So chemical substance, for example, if oxygen is there, we write as O. If sodium is there, we write as Na. If carbon is there, we write as C. So these are the what chemical substances. If CO2 is there, we write, sorry, if carbon dioxide is there, we write CO2. So different chemical substances are there. We use the symbol of the chemical substances and the state of that particular chemical substance. For example, ethanol. So ethanol is C2H5OH, which is in liquid state. For example, SO2, gas is there, it is in gaseous, we write as this small g in a subscript. If some solid part is there, for example, if carbon solid is there, we write as a solid S. If aqueous solution is there, that is a solution, or you can say a substance mixed in water, we write AQ in small letters. Okay, so third is number of moles of substance reacting and yielding the product. So whatever the substance which are going to react, the number of moles and the product which is formed by the reacting of these substances is given by a chemical equation. Fourth point, the fourth information what we get is the amount of heat absorbed and evolved. If the amount of heat is absorbed, it means it is a endothermic reaction. If amount of heat is given out, that is evolved, it means a exothermic reaction. Mostly we write in this chemical equation, or in a chemical equation we write positive heat means which is heat is evolved. There are so many reactions in which heat is required as a reactant or which gives you heat as a product. The fifth information is reaction conditions like temperature, pressure, catalyst, etc. So all these five information can be summarized in this chemical equation. So in this chemical equation, carbon monoxide is going to react with hydrogen at particular temperature, pressure, that is what reaction conditions, with this catalyst, and is going to form methanol. So now again moving towards the reaction, carbon monoxide, this is what chemical symbol. This is the state of the chemical substance, that is gaseous state. Hydrogen H2, H2 is the symbol of hydrogen. Again state is gaseous state. This 2 is the stoichiometric coefficient, that is the number of moles of substance which is going to react. Here 1 mole of carbon monoxide and 2 moles of hydrogen are going to react. So they are going to react at particular temperature and pressure. So temperature here we have is 300 degrees Celsius and pressure is 300 atmosphere. So this is what temperature and pressure condition, but this is not sufficient. We require some amount of catalyst. Catalysts are those substances which do not take part in a chemical, which takes part in a chemical reaction just in order to increase the rate of reaction. You can say it is just a supervision sort of thing. So these two combine together and form CH3OH, that is methanol, which is liquid in state. Okay, so moving further, now what is a chemical reaction? A chemical reaction is a process that leads to the transformation of one set of chemical substance to another. Or in simple language, we can say that a chemical reaction involves a chemical change, that is a production of new substance in which substances react to form a new substance with entirely new properties. So during a chemical reaction, the reactants react with each other and they form a product which is totally of different property from that of the reactant. So what happens in a chemical reaction? So during a chemical reaction, new bonds are formed with the breaking of old bonds. So old bonds break down and the new bonds are formed. So how you can write in the examination? This is an important topic. Sometimes a 1 mark question is there. What happens during a chemical reaction? So during a chemical reaction, there is a breaking of bonds between the atom of the reacting molecule, that is reactant molecule atoms break down to give product and the new bonds are formed. Now during this bond formation or breakdown process, there may be release or absorption of energy. So if absorption of energy is there, it means endothermic reaction. If there is a release of energy is there, it means a exothermic reaction. So during a chemical reaction, there is breaking and formation of bond along with release and evolution and absorption of the heat. Now, characteristics of chemical reaction, or how you can find out that that particular change is a chemical change. So chemical reaction can be observed with the help of the following observation. So first clue what or evidence what we get that particular thing is a chemical change is the change in color. For example, baking of duff or bread duff baking, so which is white in color when you prepare a duff, but when you bake it, it converts into a dark brown color. That means a color change, or which is a description of a chemical reaction. Smell change. Sometimes egg rottens, when we are not keeping them in the fridge, it gives you some particular smell. So this bad smell of egg is the indication of a chemical change which is given by the change in the smell. New matter is created. Burning of wood. Wood burns, or you can say wood reacts with atmospheric oxygen and gives you ash, which is a totally different thing from that of the wood. Gas is created. For example, whenever acid reacts with any metal, it gives you some sort of gas. Or baking soda, which is added in vinegar, gives you carbon dioxide. So there is a formation of gas whenever a chemical reaction takes place. Heat or light creation, for example fireworks, both heat and light is created whenever there is a firework because of the burning of some sort of chemicals. Different colors depend upon the different chemicals burning. Okay, now we will discuss all these things in detail. The first we will discuss is evolution of gas. So some reaction occurs with evolution of gas or mixture of gases. For example, if zinc solid reacts with HCl or H2SO4, that is sulfuric acid, it gives you zinc chloride in case of HCl and zinc sulfate in case of sulfuric acid with the release of hydrogen gas. Now in this chemical equation you can clearly see an upward arrow. It means this H2 is a gas. This is aqueous solution. Zinc is converting into its aqueous solution. Zinc is solid. HCl is aqueous. Aqueous means that is mixed with water. So in this chemical reaction, hydrogen gas is evolved. Now looking towards the diagram of this particular reaction, here the test tube is fixed on a common stand. In the test tube we have dilute sulfuric acid, that is H2SO4, and zinc granules. Now first question is there on the zinc granule. Instead of using zinc granule, we can use zinc piece or zinc powder. So zinc, write this particular thing: zinc piece, zinc granule and zinc powder. So what is the difference between if we use zinc piece, zinc granule or zinc powder? If you are using zinc piece, reaction is little bit slow. If you are using zinc granules, reaction will be little bit fast. And if you are using zinc powder, so there will be a very violent reaction. Each and every you can say zinc piece, powder and granules will react, but there is a difference in the rate of reaction, which is because of the surface area. Okay, so first question completes. Now as soon as zinc granules react with dilute sulfuric acid, a production of hydrogen gas is there. But what is the second question? What is the observation you find when this zinc granules react with sulfuric acid? So observation is brisk effervescence or formation of bubbles. So as soon as sulfuric acid reacts with zinc granules, or we have HCl which reacts with zinc granule, there is a formation of bubbles and there is a formation of bubbles and brisk effervescence. Remember this question. Most of your students, you write hydrogen gas is formed. No hydrogen gas is formed. Bubbles or brisk effervescence. You cannot write bubbles of hydrogen gas is formed. You have to write only brisk effervescence. the first observation. Now with the help of this delivery tube and the soap solution, we got the bubbles of hydrogen gas. The hydrogen gas is trapped in these bubbles. So in order to detect whether the produced gas is hydrogen or not, we use this method, that is candle. If we put a burning candle in near hydrogen gas, because hydrogen is very flammable, so burning of hydrogen gas is with a pop-up sound. You will get a pop-up sound as soon as it burns or this bubble strike with the candle. So this is what the whole scenario in which you can discuss, in which we have discussed evolution of a gas during a chemical reaction. So in the next we have change in temperature. There are several equations or several chemical reactions which occurs with a change in temperature. Sometimes the temperature increases or sometimes the temperature decreases. For example, we have quicklime, that is CaO, reacts with water and forms CaOH whole twice, and it gives you a very huge amount of heat. Now this CaOH whole twice, known as lime water, that is calcium hydroxide, when reacts with carbon dioxide, it forms calcium carbonate and water. So this reaction occurs in case of our whitewashing. So remember this equation. This equation is very important. Examples, we have a reaction between glycerin and potassium permanganate produces a very huge heat, that is there is an increase in temperature, and whenever a reaction between vinegar and baking soda is accompanied by the drop in temperature. So these are the opposite reaction in which the temperature increases, and in this reaction the temperature is decreased. So moving towards the next characteristic, we have formation of precipitate. This is one of the unique characteristic. Precipitate means whenever two aqueous solution reacts with each other, they form a solid substance which may float on the surface of aqueous solution or which may settle down. This solid substance is known as precipitate. I know this is a little bit of big definition. So what you can write, sometimes when two substances are mixed together, a solid substance is created or separates out from the solution, which is known as precipitate. So when a solution of lead nitrate and potassium iodide are mixed, lead particles and iodide particles combine together and form lead iodide, that is PbI2, which is yellow in color, and there is a precipitate formation of lead iodide. So this is lead nitrate, which is white in color. As soon as in the lead nitrate we mix potassium iodide, it converts into yellow color, and this yellow, all these things are nothing but lead iodide. So again, this is important part. What you have to remember, students, this equation, one of the frequently asked questions in many of your exams is this equation. So what is the chemical equation when lead nitrate reacts with potassium iodide? Or you can get a twisted question, that is what is the formula or name of the yellow colored precipitate formed during the reaction of lead nitrate and potassium iodide? This is PbI2 is the chemical formula, and lead iodide is the name of that particular chemical. Remember these two things. The best way to learn from this online courses or online classes is just take out your pen and paper or prepare your notes. Whenever you think that the teacher is fast, just pause your video, write down each and everything. Again, you can rewind it, again repeat it, and write down each and everything, and especially the points which are said important. Okay. So the next is change in color. Some chemical reactions are categorized by the change in color. For example, when sulfur dioxide is passed through potassium dichromate solution, which is an orange color, we will get a green color. So this is what change in color situation. Then we have change in physical state. Most of the hydrocarbons are liquid in state. Whenever they react with oxygen or whenever there is a combustion of hydrocarbon, they converts into carbon dioxide and water, which is liquid, which is gas and liquid in state. You can clearly see in this picture This is liquid, this is solid, both are combining together and forming gases and liquid. So there is a change in physical state of a chemical substance. So these are the things which happens during, these are the, you can say, evidences of chemical reaction. So now it's a question time. So first question is, why is photosynthesis considered an endothermic reaction? So photosynthesis, photo means light, synthesis means formation. So photosynthesis, we all know that it is the formation of food by the plant, which require heat and sunlight. So heat is required in the reactant part, so we can say that this is a endothermic reaction because photosynthesis. So what you can write in the exam, photosynthesis require heat and sunlight as a reactant, so we can say that it is an endothermic reaction. Second part, write two characteristics of chemical reaction which takes place when dilute sulfuric acid is poured over zinc granules. So whenever zinc granules react with sulfuric acid, there is increase in temperature along with formation of gas, and this gas is hydrogen gas. Third part, state one characteristics of each reaction of each of the following. State one characteristic of chemical reaction which takes place when dilute sulfuric acid is added to sodium carbonate. So whenever dilute sulfuric acid mixed with sodium carbonate, formation of gas is there. Lemon juice is added gradually over potassium permanganate. Lemon juice is added over potassium permanganate. Evolution of heat. Dilute sulfuric acid is added to barium chloride. Formation of precipitate. Quicklime is treated with water. Evolution of gas or change in temperature. So these are the questions which you need to keep in mind. If you have any doubt, you just pause your video, rewind it, again listen it. Okay. Now MCQ questions. Nowadays these MCQs are the part of your CBSE examination. So one of the following is an endothermic reaction. So endothermic means in which heat is used as a reactant part. So combination of carbon and oxygen to form carbon monoxide. This is an exothermic reaction. You have to remember this. Second is combination of nitrogen and oxygen to form nitrogen monoxide. This is the reaction which is endothermic in nature, that is it requires some sort of heat to give this nitrogen monoxide, and both C and D are again what? Exothermic reaction. Second question is, one of the following is exothermic reaction. This is electrolysis of water. Electrolysis means heating, electrolysis, electro means electricity, lysis means breakdown of water with the help of electricity. Conversion of limestone into quicklime. Limestone is CaCO3 into quicklime, CaO. Process of photosynthesis, this is what? Endothermic. Process of respiration, this is what? Exothermic reaction. So your answer will be part C. Now we have some hot questions. So first question is, you can also try to solve it. When the solution of a substance X is added to a solution of potassium iodide, we have discussed this thing, then a yellow solid separates out from the solution. What do you think the substance X is likely be? When a solution of substance X is added, so solution of substance X is added to a solution of potassium iodide, so X will be any compound of lead. It can be lead acetate, lead sulfate, anything related to lead. Okay. Second part, name the substance which the yellow solid consists of. Yellow solid is consist of lead iodide, that is PbI2. We have discussed this thing. Which characteristic of chemical reaction is illustrated in this reaction? Change in color and formation of precipitate. Write a balanced chemical equation for the reaction which takes place. You can see the previous slides. So this will be your answer. Lead nitrate, formation of precipitate, lead iodide. Okay, Now second question, I want you people to solve this question. Just pause your video and try to solve it. I will give you the answer. So I'm just giving you some sort of hint. When a metal X is treated with dilute acid Y, then a Z is formed. Now metal is heat treated with acid. So whenever a metal reacts with acid, it gives you hydrogen gas. So you can say that this Z is nothing but hydrogen, and this Y will be any acid, that will be sulfuric acid or it may be a HCl, and X can be any metal which is in the higher order reactivity series of than that of the hydrogen. So question is, name any two metals which can behave like metal X. So any two metal which can behave like X will be zinc, it can be zinc, it can be aluminium, it can be iron, anyone. Name two acids which behave like acid Y, sulfuric acid and HCl, hydrochloric acid. Name the gas Z. Z is nothing but hydrogen gas. Is the Z lighter than the or heavier than the air? Z is lighter than that of the air. Hydrogen is less lighter than that of the air. Is the chemical reaction between X and dilute sulfuric acid Y is exothermic or endothermic? It is an exothermic reaction. So you can clearly see this answer. So this is all for today's class. So just before going, so just read this question. This will be your homework. And again, just read each and every part of this video very carefully and listen it very carefully. This question has been discussed in some of the previous slides. So I'm just, for your hint, I'm repeating it. When water is added gradually to right to a white solid X, a hiss sound is heard and a lot of heat is produced, forming a product Y. A suspension of Y in water is applied to the wall of a house during the whitewashing. We have discussed this thing. So just have a look at this particular question. This will be your homework. That's all for today's class. So in the next lecture, we will discuss about chemical reaction types, and we will discuss some of the questions and oxidation and reduction, oxidizing agent, reducing agents, and it will be the last, you can say, video of this this course part. Then we will discuss about the previous year questions. So that's all for today. I'm again repeating, for best results, just try to pause this video and write each and everything which is available in this video. Good luck, all the best, stay safe, stay in quarantine. Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the third part of our chapter of chemical reaction and equation. So today we will discuss about the types of chemical reaction. So first reaction is a combination reaction. A combination reaction is when two or more simple compounds combine together to form a one complicated compound. Or in simple words, you can say that in which a two different separate compounds just combine together to form a one single compound. It may be some elemental reaction, it may be a combination of two molecules, two elements, etc. Like you can say that they are separate, now they are combined together. For example purpose, you can read this example. Calcium oxide reacts vigorously with water to produce slaked lime, that is calcium hydroxide, and chemically you can see this one. So CaO, that is quicklime, calcium oxide, it combines with water and forms calcium hydroxide. This is what? Combination reaction. C plus O2 gives you CO2. This is again a combination reaction. Or formation of water, that is H2 plus O2 is known as water. So a combination, this is known as what? Combination reaction. A type of combination reaction may be known as also a synthesis reaction, in which a particular substance is formed with the help of its you can say elemental form of reactants. In this is also a combination reaction, but it is also known as what? Synthesis reaction or formation reaction, because H2O can be formed by different methods, but this is what it is formed from its element. C plus O2, that is burning of coal, is again what? Combination reaction. Second type of reaction is decomposition, that is totally opposite of that of the combination reaction. A decomposition reaction is opposite of the synthesis reaction, or you can say combination reaction, in which a complex molecule breaks down into the simpler ones. For example, there we have a complex molecule AB which breaks down into a simpler A and B different. For example, this is a couple, it breaks down A and B. Now chemical, for example, we have FeSO4 is a compound which is a solid in state with heating. Because of this heat, it breaks down into ferric oxide, sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide. Limestone CaCO3, that is calcium carbonate, when we heat it, it breaks down into calcium oxide, that is quicklime, and carbon dioxide. So as you are seeing that for decomposition we need some sort of, you can say, conditions to decompose it. So there are on this basis only we have some sort of, you can say, types of decomposition reaction. So first type of decomposition reaction is thermolytic decomposition, that is thermo means heat, lytic means decomposition. So if decomposition reaction which requires heat is known as thermolytic decomposition. For example, CaCO3, when it is heated, it converts into CaO and CO2. In this way, lead nitrate, when it is heated, it converts into lead oxide, nitrogen oxide and oxygen. Then we have photolytic decomposition. Photo means light, lytic means again decomposition. So when we require light, or with the help of light, if we decompose a complex substance into its constituent particles, then this decomposition is known as photolytic decomposition. Example, AgCl, silver chloride, which is solid in state. When you decompose it, it converts into solid silver and chlorine gas. This you can correlate with some of the, you can say, caution symbols on some bottles, in which written keep away from the sunlight, or some bottles are in brown color. So this is all that these particular substances which is in the bottle, or this particular substance, can decompose in the presence of sunlight. Third part is decomposition with the help of electricity, that is electrolytic decomposition. If decomposition reaction which requires electricity is known as decomposition reaction. For example, electrolytic decomposition of water, that is H2O. When we pass electricity, it converts into H2 and O2, that is its constituent particles. Okay, so after decomposition reaction we have single displacement reaction. In this, one element trades place with the other element in a compound, or you can say that from a compound, if element which is more reactive than one of its element, one of the compound particle, can replace it. For example, in this, A is reacting with BC. Now B is less reactive than A, so A combines with C, forming AC plus B. For example, we have zinc solid reacting with copper sulfate. So zinc is more reactive than copper, so it displaces copper from its solution. So we have zinc sulfate and copper solid. In the case of lead plus copper chloride, lead is more reactive than copper, so it displaces copper and form lead chloride and copper solid. If, for example, if we have zinc sulfate reacting with copper, so zinc is more reactive than copper, so zinc is not going to be displaced by the copper, so the reverse reaction will not be there. Then we have double displacement reaction. So double displacement, in the previous one, single displacement, only one cation or anion is displaced, or mostly anion is displaced. But in the case of double displacement reaction, you can say it is a switching of anions and cations of two differently compounds. So for example purpose, you can write, this is when anion and cations of two different molecules switch places, forming two entirely different compounds. These reactions are in general form like that. So for example, AB plus CD, these are the two different compounds. So A is positive, A positive, B negative, C positive, D negative. So it becomes AD plus CB. So cation and anion just displaces each other. One of the good example is that reaction of lead nitrate with potassium iodide. You are familiar with this reaction. Lead nitrate and potassium iodide, whenever combined together, double displacement reaction takes place and they will form lead iodide and potassium nitrate, which gives you a yellow color precipitate. So this is what double displacement reaction. Another example which you need to remember for our exam is reaction of sodium sulfate plus barium chloride gives you white color precipitate of barium sulfate. This is one of the frequently asked question. So white color precipitate is because of the barium sulfate, that is BaSO4 plus NaCl aqueous. So next type of reaction is oxidation reaction. It may be defined as the process which involves the addition of oxygen or any other electronegative element. From the name it is clear. Oxidation means addition of oxygen or any other electronegative element, or you can say that it involves removal of hydrogen or any other electropositive element. So how you can remember this? Oxygen is O-2. Oxygen is an electronegative element. So addition of oxygen or any other electronegative element is oxidation, or hydrogen is positive, H positive. So removal of any electropositive element or hydrogen is known as oxidation. For example, A plus O2 gives you AO2, or copper plus oxygen in the presence of heat reacts with each other and form cupric oxide. So a substance which gains oxygen during a reaction is said to be oxidized, and the one who is supplying the oxygen is known as oxidizing agent. The second one is reduction. It may be defined as a process which involves addition of hydrogen or any other electropositive element. Reduction is totally opposite to that of the oxidation. It is a process which involves removal of oxygen or any other electronegative element. It is totally opposite to that of the oxidation. In oxidation, we have addition of oxygen. Here we have addition of hydrogen. Hydrogen being electropositive, it means any other electropositive element is also added, then it will be known as reduction. For example, CH2 double bond CH2, that is ethene, reacts with hydrogen. This double bond breaks down and hydrogen is added to this. It converts into ethane. So this is what hydrogenation, or you can say reduction, addition of hydrogen. Now modern definition or electron concept of oxidation and reduction. So oxidation may be defined as which in a process which involves loss of electron. For example, zinc solid loses its electron and converts into Zn plus 2 and 2 electrons. So this is what loss of electron is known as oxidation, and the totally opposite thing, that is gain of electron, is known as reduction. So how you can remember this thing? Reduction generally means something is lost, but here we have gain, totally opposite. So gain of electron means reduction, loss of electron means oxidation. A positive in aqueous gains 2 electron and converts into silver solid. So this is what reduction. Now a reaction in which both oxidation and reduction is going on takes place simultaneously, we call it as a redox reaction. So reaction in which oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously are known as redox reaction. For example, you can see Fe2O3 plus carbon monoxide. This Fe2O3 is converting into Fe, that is the loss of oxygen is there, so we call it as a reduction. Carbon monoxide is converting into carbon dioxide. Addition of oxygen is there in the case of carbon dioxide. So this is known as what? Oxidation. Now this carbon monoxide is getting oxygen from this Fe2O3. So for carbon monoxide, Fe2O3 is a oxidizing agent. And remember, this oxidizing agent itself gets reduced to oxidize some carbon monoxide or any other compound. Copper CuO plus H2 gives you copper, that is loss of hydrogen. Oxygen is there, so it means reduction. H2 converts into water, that is addition of oxygen. So you can say that this is oxidation. So in this case, oxidizing agent for H2 is CuO because it is going to supply oxygen, and for CuO, reducing agent is H2. Here also we can say electron concept method. So Cu plus 2 is going to gain electron. So gain of electron is nothing but reduction. It's converting into copper solid. Zinc loses its electron and converts into Zn plus 2, that is loss of electron. It means oxidation. So overall ionic equation will be copper positive plus 2 decrease its oxidation state. We will discuss this oxidation state later. So you can say that copper plus 2 and zinc solid both react with each other. Zinc loses its electron, copper gain its electron. So copper aqueous is converting into copper solid, and zinc solid is converting into zinc aqueous. Now oxidizing and reducing agent. So oxidizing agent or oxidizer, we call it as oxidizer also, can be defined as a substance that removes electron from any reactant in a chemical reaction. The oxidizing agent is reduced by taking electron into itself and reacting its oxidizing by having its electron taken away. So in simple words, we can say that oxidizing agent is the one which is going to reduce itself, that is a loss of oxygen is there in the case of oxidizing agent, or which gains electron. Now reducing agent is an element or a compound in the reduction oxidant or redox reaction that donates an electron, that which is going to donate an electron to another species. However, since reducers loses an electron, it is says that it is being oxidized. So oxidizing agent itself get reduced and reducing agent itself get oxidized. So suppose X is a reducing agent, X loses electron, and Y is an oxidizing agent, Y gains electron. So X is losing electron, so it is a reducing agent. So X is oxidized by Y. So Y is the reason of oxidation of X, and here Y is the reason for the reduction of X. So Y is reduced by X. So this Y is reduced by X, and this X is oxidized by Y. Or we can say that if X is becoming positive, it means it is going to be reduced, or it is a reducing agent. So, and Y is become more negative, so it is reduced, or it is an oxidizing agent. Now some effects of this oxidation on our day-to-day life. The first one is the corrosion. The slow process of conversion of metal into an undesirable compound due to their reaction with moisture and other gases present in the atmosphere is known as corrosion of metals, or layer by layer degradation of metal or conversion of metal into its oxide is known as corrosion. For example, rusting of iron, that is formation, this is what rusting of iron, formation of green layer on the copper, and tarnishing or blackening of silver is nothing but corrosion. So how you can prevent a corrosion? Painting, oiling, greasing. Just we need to do what? We need to break the contact of the atmosphere with that of the metal. In molecules of water do not collide with iron, so it means it is protected from the corrosion. Now sacrificial anodic protection. So this is again a method. This is not in the NCERT, so we will not going to discuss it in detail. Electron. Okay, now the second is rancidity. When oils and fat or food containing oils and fat are exposed to air, they get oxidized due to the food, due to which the food becomes stale and it gives a very bad smell and taste. So this is known as what? Rancidity. So rancidity can be prevented by using refrigeration, storing the food in airtight container, or using antioxidant, that is the substances which prevent oxidation. That's all for today's class. We will discuss each and everything in the next lecture. So in the next lecture we will discuss some questions based on this chapter. It will be from NCERT, some MCQs and other questions. Stay healthy, stay safe.
Hello everyone, this is part 4 of chapter Chemical Reaction and Equation. So today's contents are NCERT activities from 1 to 4 and related questions of these NCERT activities. So first activity for today's class is to show reaction between magnesium and oxygen present in air. For this, requirements are, of course, magnesium ribbon, watch glass, pair of tongs. Tongs are like a chipta which we use to hold magnesium ribbon, burner, and then sandpaper. Procedure: clean a magnesium ribbon about 2 cm long by rubbing it with a sandpaper. Hold it with a pair of tongs. Burn it using a burner and collect the ashes so formed in a watch glass or in china dish, whatever is available in your laboratory. This is a pair of tongs which we are using to hold this magnesium ribbon. This magnesium ribbon, and this is our burner. Now, when we burn this magnesium ribbon with the help of burner, a dazzling sound is produced, and this whole magnesium ribbon is converted into a white powder of magnesium oxide. So, observation is magnesium ribbon burns with a dazzling white flame or with sound and changes into a white powder. Now conclusion, magnesium oxide is formed due to reaction between magnesium and oxygen present in the air. And this is going to be your chemical equation, that is magnesium solid, this magnesium ribbon plus O2, oxygen present in air, gives you magnesium oxide, which is a white in color. Students, you have to remember two questions which are very important for this activity. The first one is the observation. You have to remember production of dazzling white flame along with formation of white powder. Conclusion, magnesium oxide is formed due to reaction between magnesium and the oxygen which is present in a air. And third question is this chemical reaction. So these are the three questions based on your observation and conclusion. Now, this sandpaper. First of all, we have to clean the magnesium ribbon. So, what is the need to clean the magnesium ribbon, or what is the use of sandpaper? Sandpaper is used to clean a magnesium ribbon because magnesium generally reacts with oxygen and forms a white layer of magnesium oxide on it. So in order to remove that particular magnesium oxide layer, we are using this sandpaper. Got it? Is it clear? So there are four questions. First question based on sandpaper. I'm again revising it. First question is based on sandpaper. That is, what is the requirement of sandpaper and why we clean magnesium ribbon. Okay. Second question is based on observation. Two observations are there. The first one is dazzling white flame and second one is production of white powder. Then conclusion. What is the conclusion of this activity? Magnesium oxide is formed due to reaction between magnesium and oxygen present in air. The last one is chemical equation. So you have to remember this chemical equation. Now activity 2. In this activity, we are going to show you evidences of a chemical change, that is change in state and change in color during a chemical reaction or during a chemical change. Our requirements are lead nitrate solution, that is lead nitrate PbNO3 whole twice. Then we use potassium iodide Ki solution, test tube and a conical flask. You can use two test tube also if there is no conical flask available. Procedure: take a lead nitrate solution in a test tube, add potassium iodide solution into this. Now observation is yellow color precipitates are formed. For example, this is a test tube in which you are having lead nitrate and this is another test tube in which you are having potassium iodide, or you mix this lead nitrate into the potassium iodide test tube. As soon as you mix a test tube, there is a formation of yellow color precipitate. You can clearly see formation of yellow color precipitate in these figures. So conclusion is change in color is because of lead iodide and potassium nitrate have been formed after a reaction. So as soon as reaction takes place, there is a formation of two things, that is lead iodide and potassium nitrate. Lead iodide is PbI2, which is a yellow precipitate. This yellow color is because of this PbI2. And KNO3 is a colorless solution. This is the chemical equation. What you need to remember, 2Ki plus PbNO3 whole twice gives you PbI2, that is yellow color precipitate, plus twice KNO3, which is a colorless solution. In this activity, you need to remember following things. The first one is formula of each and every requirement, that is lead nitrate and potassium iodide and potassium nitrate. Second is observation. So in this activity, you observe formation of yellow color precipitate. What is the definition of precipitate? When two aqueous solutions mix together or react together, they form some insoluble substance which is known as precipitate. Second, what is the formula of yellow color precipitate? Formula of yellow color precipitate is PbI2, and definitely you have to remember this whole chemical equation. Now moving towards the activity 3. In this activity, we will show you formation of gas and change in temperature during a chemical reaction. So for this, requirements are zinc granules. You can use zinc powder also, conical flask. This is a conical flask, and dilute H2SO4. You can also do this experiment with the help of the dilute HCl. Now procedure, take a few zinc granules in a conical flask, add a dilute hydrochloric acid or H2SO4 is available. You can use H2SO4 to the conical flask, touch the conical flask. Now you have to touch this particular conical flask. So observation, as soon as you put some acid, whatever be it a HCl or H2SO4, a gas is evolved and a conical flask becomes little bit warm. You will feel a little bit rise in temperature if you touch the conical flask. Now conclusion, from this we conclude that whenever a chemical reaction takes place, there is a change in temperature and evolution of gas. They may both occur simultaneously or there may be a one and one cases. Whole chemical reaction will be zinc plus H2SO4 gives you ZnSO4. This is a single displacement reaction with the evolution of hydrogen gas plus heat. In this activity, you have to remember this observation. These observation parts are very important. You have to write this observation only. You cannot write in the observation production of H2 gas because you don't know whether the gas is produced H2 or not. The observation is brisk effervescence or production of gas along with warmness of the conical flask. So this is going to be your observation. And of course, you have to remember this whole chemical equation. In the next activity, we are going to show you change in temperature in a chemical reaction. For this, our requirements are quicklime, that is calcium oxide, CaO, water, H2O, then beaker. So this is our hard beaker. We have some quicklime, that is calcium oxide, CaO, inside a beaker. Now procedure for this, take a little calcium oxide in a hard glass beaker and add water slowly, like this. As soon as you add the water, you just touch it. This particular whole slake line formation will be there. That is, calcium hydroxide will form along with evolution of high amount of heat. So the beaker feels to be quite hot. That is, the temperature will rise. There is a rise in temperature. So observation is the beaker feels to be quite hot, which indicates rise in temperature during a chemical reaction. So conclusion, from this we conclude that when a chemical reaction takes place, there is a change in temperature. So this is our chemical equation. Calcium oxide, solid, reacts with water, liquid. Solution of calcium hydroxide is formed along with production of high amount of heat. As heat is produced, this is going to be an exothermic reaction, and you can see calcium oxide and water, they combine together and form calcium hydroxide. So this is also a combination reaction. So this is exothermic combination reaction. You can use this equation in exothermic example, in combination example, or to show whether the temperature is increasing during a chemical reaction. First question, again observation part. You have to remember the observation part and you have to remember this whole equation. So that's all for today. If you have any doubt, you can call on this number or give a WhatsApp on this number. Subscribe, comment, share, and like. Hello everyone. So today's chapter is chemical reaction and equation. This is the part 5th for class 10th. So in the earlier parts, we have discussed about the NCERT activities from 1 to 4. Now we will discuss about the NCERT activities from 5 to 11 and the related questions from these NCERT activities. So first activity is to show change in color of chemical reaction. So we all know that whenever there is a chemical reaction, there is a change in the color of a chemical substance or there may be a decomposition. So in this we have taken a ferrous sulfate crystals and we will study the decomposition of ferrous sulfate crystals. Requirements are boiling tube, FeSO4 powder and burner. So procedure is take 2 gram of FeSO4 which is green in color and heat it over the flame of a burner. You can see this in this figure. This is your burner and you are heating the green color crystals of FeSO4. Mostly ferrous crystals, that is iron crystals, are green in color. So we are heating it in a boiling tube and we observe a gas having a smell of burning sulfur coming out of it after some time, and this green color converts into the brown one. So observation, green color of FeSO4 changes to brown due to formation of Fe2SO3, and a smell of burning sulfur is obtained due to the formation of SO2. This is green color FeSO4 and this is Fe2SO3, that is red brown color of Fe2SO3. In some books you will find red color, some will say brick color or red brown color, all are almost similar. So conclusion is that from this we conclude that when a chemical reaction takes place, there is a change in color, that is green to red and brown color, and FeSO4 decomposes on heating. You can clearly see from this chemical reaction, this FeSO4 is decomposed into Fe2SO3, SO3 and SO2 gas. Fe2SO3 is red brown in color and this FeSO4, which is solid, is green in color. So this is the chemical reaction. The point which you need to remember, again the observation part, that is green color FeSO4 converts into brown color Fe2SO3, and second point is so a smell of burning sulfur is obtained and formula for that particular smell is SO2. Green color formula is FeSO4. Red brown color compound formula is Fe2SO3, and gases what we got are SO3 and SO2. The most important point which you need to remember for this chemical reaction or this activity is its precaution. The first precaution is, all we know that we have to do each and every experiment in front of your teacher or under the observation of the teacher. This is the universal, you can say, precaution what we have to take. But for this activity, there are two special precautions. The first is wafting gas gently towards nose. That is, you cannot point this opening of test tube directly towards your mouth. Whenever gas is coming, you have to waftle it gently towards your nose. It's just similarly like you take aarti from a deepak or agarbatti during your puja time. The second point, do not point the mouth of the boiling tube at your neighbors and yourself because of the sulfur dioxide gas, which can be dangerous if you smell it or inhale it directly. So these two precautions need to be taken care during this activity. Then this question may be asked in your board exam. Now activity 6. In this activity we are going to show the thermal decomposition of lead nitrate powder. So requirements are again boiling tube, lead nitrate and burner. So procedure is again same. We are going to take 2 gram of lead nitrate and heat it over the burning flame. So this is burner, lead nitrate, boiling tube. We are heating this lead nitrate and this lead nitrate composes into lead oxide and nitrogen gas. So observation is brown fumes of nitrogen oxide gas evolved along with formation of yellow color substance. So lead nitrate converts into a yellow color substance and we observe brown color gas. This brown color gas is nothing but nitrogen dioxide. So from this we conclude that when a chemical reaction takes place, there is a change in color of a substance, and this is the chemical reaction. Lead nitrate, which is colorless solid, whenever we heat it, it converts into a yellow color lead oxide and nitrogen dioxide, which is of brown color and oxygen gas. So questions from this activity will be, what is the brown color fumes? What is the chemical formula of brown color fumes? That is NO2 gas. Or sometimes they may ask you questions like that. A compound A of nitrate when heated gives you a brown color gas. Name compound A and B. Write the chemical equation. So these type of questions will be there. So you need to remember the observation part and this chemical reaction. Next activity is to show electrolysis of water. This is one of the most important activity of this chapter. Requirements are boiling tube, battery, wire, cork, stand, carbon, electrolyte, electrodes, dilute H2SO4, etc. So this is the experimental setup of the of this particular activity. Water H2O liquid is going to decompose, electrical decomposition, or you can say electrolysis. Electrolysis means we are decomposing a particular substance with the help of electricity. This H2O converts into H2 and O2 gas. Now in this we are taking a glass bottle without bottom and we invert it and we close this particular opening with the help of a rubber cork. Now in the rubber cork we make two holes and put a carbon rod which is connected to a 6-volt battery. This negative terminal is known as cathode and this positive terminal is known as anode. This cathode and anode is inverted by two test tubes, and whole this experiment is set up on a clamp, or you can say a common stand. Now as soon as the electricity is passing, the water decomposes into H2 and O2 gas. Observation, we will see the bubbles of gases being formed at both the test tube or carbon electrode inside the test tube containing water, and these gases are formed by the decomposition of water on passing the electricity. The volume of gas collected in the test tube is not same. In one test tube it is half and the other one will be the double. We can say that the volume of the gas collected on the negative electrode, that is left electrode, is double to that the volume of the positive electrode. So at the positive electrode it is double, and at the negative one it is half. That is the right electrode, that is at the right electrode it is double, on the left electrode it is half. So conclusion is that electrolysis of a water shows that the water is made up of two parts of hydrogen and one part of oxygen by volume. So the formula of water is H2O. So questions which you need to remember, these two observations, these are very important, and sometimes you may get why there is a difference in the volume of the two gases. The volume of difference is because water is comprises of the two part of hydrogen and one part of oxygen. That's why there is a difference in the volume of these two gases. Hydrogen is more, so therefore the volume of hydrogen is exactly double to that of the volume of oxygen. Next activity, to show photolytic decomposition of AgCl. Photolytic decomposition means breakdown of a chemical substance with the help of light. So requirements are china dish, AgCl and sunlight. We have to put this silver chloride, which is white in color, in a china dish, and if sunlight passes through it, it converts into a grayish color substance. That is, take out 2 grams of silver chloride in a china dish, which is white in color, and place it in the sunlight. We observe that white silver chloride turns into a grayish white due to formation of silver metal. Silver chloride converts into silver metal, or you can say there is a photolytic decomposition of AgCl, and which causes white color turns into a grayish white. So conclusion, the decomposition of silver chloride is caused by the light. You have to remember this chemical equation, AgCl, silver chloride, which is white in color. If light is there, decomposes, it converts into silver solid, grayish white, and chlorine yellowish green in color. This chlorine gas escapes out, so therefore it will not leave you any sort of color, only silver or grayish white color of silver remains. Aim, to show displacement reaction between iron and copper sulfate. Requirements are china dish, iron nails, and copper sulfate. We all know that iron is more reactive than copper, so iron reacts CuSO4 from its solution. So this is a stand. We have iron nails, and this is blue color solution of copper sulfate. Tie this particular nails with the thread. So procedure, take 10 ml of copper sulfate solution in a test tube and put some iron pins in it. Observation, this deep blue color of copper sulfates converts into a light green solution of iron sulfates, and these nails which are of red color converts a red brown layer of copper metal is on the iron nail. So deep blue color of copper sulfate solution has faded and converts into green color, and the iron nail is covered with red brown layer of copper. You have to remember these observations. Two observations, blue color changes into green, and there is a formation of red brown layer of copper metal on the iron nail. So conclusion, iron displaces copper from the copper sulfate solution. The deep blue color of copper sulfate fades out due to formation of light green solution of iron sulfate. Chemical reaction is CuSO4 aqueous plus Fe, which is grey in color. This iron displaces copper from its sulfate solution and converts into FeSO4, which is greenish solution, and the copper solid is red brown color, which stays on the iron nail, which converts it into a red brown in color. Next activity, to show formation of precipitate and double displacement reaction between BaCl2 and Na2SO4, that is barium chloride and sodium sulfate. We all know that whenever two aqueous solution combines together, they form a precipitate going on. So double displacement reaction, that is inter-exchange of cations and anions between the two aqueous solution, and whenever two aqueous solution combines together, they form some insoluble substance known as precipitate. So for this reaction, requirements are solution of barium chloride and sodium sulfate, test tube and beaker. Again, what we are going to do, we take a 3 ml of sodium sulfate, like this 3 ml or whatever with the 3 ml of sodium sulfate in a test tube or in a beaker, and add 3 ml of barium chloride solution. So suppose this is sodium sulfate solution and this is barium chloride solution. As soon as you mix these solution, you find the formation of white precipitate. This is the starting. When you mix the whole, you will find this white precipitates of barium sulfate. So formation of white PPT presentation. Now conclusion, an exchange of ion takes place in this reaction. The reaction between the barium chloride solution and the sodium sulfate solution leads to the formation of precipitates and sodium chloride. So this is your chemical reaction. BaCl2, that is barium chloride, reacts with sodium sulfate. This barium will displace sodium and will form barium sulfate, and sodium and chlorine attach together and form NaCl. And this white precipitate is because of BaSO4. Same reaction we understood in the when yellow color precipitates are formed when lead acetate or lead nitrate mixed with potassium iodide. Potassium iodide, that is PbI2. Here the white color is because of BaSO4. Both the reactions are important. Mark all these important points. This white color change, or the previous one, blue color of copper sulfate solution fades into the green color solution. These points are really important. The best way to learn from this video is pause this video, write down each and everything in your notebook, and mark the points which I am telling you, the important ones. This chemical equation is important point, and this especially white precipitate. What is the formula of white precipitate? That is BaSO4. This is really important. And again, for the observation part, write only this thing: formation of white precipitate or formation of yellow precipitate, or in the previous activities, this is formation of brown color gas. These points are really important. You have to write only this thing. You cannot write formation of nitrogen gas, or you cannot write in this formation of BaSO4. Observation is you don't know what is the chemical compound formed. You know observation. What you first observe during a chemical reaction is formation of white precipitate. So moving towards the last activity for this chapter is to show oxidation of copper powder. So copper powder is simply the copper which is grinded into a powder form. So requirements are copper powder, china dish, burner, wire gauge. We all know that copper is little, which color? Copper is a little of brown color, shiny brown color. So shiny brown color powder we have. This is wire gauge, tripod stand, and burner. Procedure is take 1 gram of copper powder in a china dish and heat it strongly over a burner. We all know that the reaction will be copper is going to react with O2, that is oxygen. This is your copper powder, that is brown in color. So whenever it reacts with oxygen or it is burning in the presence of oxygen, this brown color copper powder will convert into the black color, like this one. It means copper is going to react with oxygen and form copper oxide. So the copper metal is heated in air, it gets oxidized to form black powder of copper oxide. This is your chemical reaction. Copper, which is red brown in color, which reacts with oxygen from air during the heating procedure and converts into copper oxide, which is black in color. First point what you have to remember, a black substance is formed. Formula for black substance is copper oxide. So what type of questions you can get? You can get this question like a red brown color substance reacts with oxygen and forms a black oxide. Name the substances and write the chemical equation. So red brown color substance is copper, reacts with oxygen and forms copper oxide. This is your whole chemical reaction. So that's all for today's class. If you have any doubt, you can contact me through this WhatsApp number. And the best way, I'm again repeating, pause your video, write down each and every chemical reaction, each and every observation part. All the best. Take care. Happy lockdown.